Relationships get nasty when people feel as if they're being treated as a means to an end. So what do I mean by that? Well, I'm sure you may know examples. You may have even experienced yourself a time where you felt someone may have been friends with you and entered a relationship with you, not necessarily because of you, but because of something you were able to provide or something about you. And whenever that happens, you end up feeling resentful. It gets nasty because you feel as if you're not here for me, you're here because of some kind of service I can provide. Take, for example, when someone marries someone for their money. Any normal, sane, healthy person would feel insulted by that if it was said explicitly. But even if it's happening at an unspoken level, if it's felt and if it's going on, people end up feeling very resentful because they feel as if you're not really with me for me. You're treating me as a means to an end. The same can happen in friendships and all kinds of relationships. This can even apply in the sexual realm, where people may feel as if, or engage in a transactional relationship or experience just because they're not necessarily trying to get close to one another or give to one another, but because they just are using each other for their own personal ends. That can end up getting nasty and create resentment, because it's treating someone, a body, a soul really, a person, as a means to an end. And we don't like that. We don't like that because we feel as if we're being used. We're not being seen for who we really are, or appreciated for who we really are. Now, I'm sure all of this should be pretty intuitive, but what's so interesting is that this very simple logic doesn't always seem to get applied to religion, to connecting to God, to understanding what it means to have a relationship with God. Because there are plenty of people in the religious world, even in the Jewish world, but of other religions as well, where people say, what's religion about? It's about, here's what I do, and by doing that I can get to heaven. So if, in the case of Judaism, it's about having a relationship with God, if you're doing the commandments because you're trying to get to heaven, aren't you just using God to get to heaven? Aren't you treating God as a means to an end rather than an end in and of itself? Isn't that basically the same as someone that marries someone for their money? Because really what they're saying is, can I just have the money? They're just marrying the money. What, I've got to marry you as well? Fine, okay, I'll marry you. But I really just want the money. How is that so different from someone that says, I really just want to get to heaven? Well, I've got to observe all these commandments, do all these things to get to heaven. Fine, I'll do them. But really, I just want to get to heaven. That is, first of all, selfish. And second of all, it takes God out of the equation, really. You're just saying, well, I'm going to play the rules that God created because I'm a pleasure seeker and I want to do my spiritual insurance. But really, it's treating God as a means to an end. It's missing the whole point. It's a total perversion of what the Torah and the commandments, and I guess the original monotheistic religion was all about. So in Judaism, the Torah doesn't mention the reward of the afterlife because God says, this is what I need from you. I want a relationship with you. This is what matters to me. The mitzvot are the things I like, the averot, the sins, the things I dislike. Will you join with me in following my will and following what are my preferences and my values, and together we can engage in a relationship because I wish to have a relation with you. And that, for us, should be our primary, if not our sole motivating factor. That God has invited us into a relationship with him. We should see that as an end in of itself. Our Creator wants a relationship with us. What could be better than that? What's a greater reward than that, than just being able to serve him? And this allows us to make more sense of that famous midrash, that biblical commentary, which talks about what happened before God gave the Torah to the Jewish people. It says he went to all the nations of the world and he offered it to them first. Thought it'd only be fair. Let's go to each of the nations first and see what they say. When he went to each of the nations asked God, can you tell us what's in it? And God did tell them what's in it. He told them something he knew that would be challenging for them to keep. And they said, thank you, but no thank you. And God said, yeah, forget it, don't worry. And then he goes to the Jewish people. The Jewish people's reaction was completely different, the opposite. The Jewish people said famously, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will listen. Before even understanding what it was that God wanted of us, the Jewish people said, yes, we'll do it. This was the total opposite to what the other nations said. In fact, one of the reasons that God spoke to the other nations first was to contrast their response with the Jewish people's response. See, the other nations' response was, God wants a relationship with me. Well, how will this fit into my life? Will this work for me? What am I going to get out of this? That was really what they said. So God said, forget about it. You're treating me as a means to an end. God comes to the Jewish people. He says, will you accept my commandments? The Jewish people said, your commandments? Yes. Right, what are the commandments? The Jewish people saw the incredible, overwhelming opportunity, experience that was being presented to them, which was their Creator coming to them and say, I want a relationship with you. Do you want a relationship with me? And we said yes. And by not asking about what that would mean, we proved and showed and demonstrated the highest level of relationship, the holiest level, the purest, which is to treat the other not as a means to an end, but an end in of itself. That is the most secure, safe, holy, loving kind of relationship. It's what God wanted of us. It's why he chose the Jewish people to be his people, to spread godliness to the world and to teach the world about what the holiest and best kind of relationships are, where we treat everyone not as means, but as ends. I'm Ollie Annisfeld, and you're watching JTV.